What's wonderful about jet lag, right, is you kind of end up dreaming in the middle of the day, and you almost start seeing things that aren't there because your body thinks you should be dreaming.
Hey guys, I'm Vanessa from houseinthesand, and I'm here in Berlin with Ben Barritt. So, you've been traveling a lot lately, right?
Yes, I have. It's been a pretty interesting year since January.
Yeah, you've been to the Philippines, is that correct?
Yeah, I did a little tour around Philippines with my friend Mishka Adams, who's just moved to Berlin, so we're going to do some more duo things. I managed to get to Hong Kong, which was really cool, and Czech Republic with my new band.
Okay.
And Jim Croft went to LA, so we went there, and I was through New York on the way back.
Wow.
And then managed to go to Moscow last weekend.
Yeah, I read that on Facebook.
So yeah, it's
really
been
busy.
I wasn't expecting it at all, but it's been, and what's nice is it's kind of been traveling just to do kind of, you know, my music and Jim's music and Mishka's music, you know, music of friends of mine that I really like, and that's what's been the nicest about it, taking that music to more places.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you travel, the top 3 things that you take along.
Oh wow, okay. Wow, I really should have prepared this one.
Oh. Throwing you into the water.
Okay, you might need to do an edit as I think about this.
It's alright, take your time.
I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there's a little kind of nugget of wisdom that they can say for any person
travelers
that ends up traveling a lot like that. Yeah, having gone about 8 or 9 hours east.
Yes.
Yeah, you need some kind of pillow to help you sleep on the plane, because otherwise, I discovered jet lag for the first time really properly, and it was really interesting because what's wonderful about jet lag, right, is you kind of end up dreaming in the middle of the day, and you almost start seeing things that aren't there because your body thinks you should be dreaming. But then the other great thing is that you wake up in the middle of the night and you're absolutely awake, and you're like, hello, time to do some work. And then everyone else is still sleeping, and it's like really, really annoying. Yeah. So that doesn't really answer the question. No. But yeah, I can't sleep on the plane, so that's what happened. It was kind of interesting, kind of fun. That's a really useless answer. I'm trying to think about more
maybe something
really boring things like
a camera, but that's basic, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really failing here.
No, it's alright.
I'm really failing here. Yeah. Okay. I'll get back to that one later.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Yeah.
So people say different countries, different crowds. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, or even different cities, different crowds. I mean, even just, yeah, it's definitely varied. It's definitely varied a lot. Like reactions can be so different. Like the reactions in Hong Kong were just kind of really wicked, you know. Yeah. It was just particularly kind of friendly, fun reaction to music that they'd never heard before. You know, my kind of random songs hearing for the first time, which was kind of really nice. In the Philippines, it was kind of really fun as well. But there seems to be kind of different musical styles that. I mean, Moscow was just like when we played Jim's big choruses in Moscow. Yeah, it was massive, it was just such a wicked audience, just really fun. It
was open air also?
It was an open air for university, and it was just such wicked people in the audience. It was like, really, you know, so I've had nothing but good experiences of travelling to these different places. But even in England, I found that, you know, the way different cities react to music are different. Like I found, you know, for example, Birmingham is like a really wicked city for music, but people don't kind of jump around and dance and scream. They kind of stand there and go like, yeah.
They're just listening.
And so a couple of times I've played in Birmingham, thought, do I completely suck? Like no one seems to be kind of like getting into it. Yeah. And then everyone comes up to you after and goes, oh, that was dead good, you know, that was really, and I think, all right, you know, so
you could have said that before.
Well, no, it's cool. It's just a different kind of cool, you know. It's just like a different kind of reaction, and that's just what I've always found when I've been in Birmingham. So it's funny.
So talking about playing live, do you have a favourite song to play? Is there like one special one?
Oh, what, when I'm playing my songs, or when I'm playing?
Or you could do both, maybe some Jim songs?
I don't know. Yeah, when I'm playing my songs, I guess I kind of enjoy playing the newest ones the most. Okay. I think just because it feels kind of current and real, and I suppose that they're about things that I'm feeling more in the moment and everything. So I suppose that's especially playing the newest ones that I've kind of got together with the band and things like that. It's nice. I mean, with Jim, there's this song called "One Sees the Sun" that we used to play a long time ago, and we pulled it out on the Moscow gig, and it was
really?
It was real fun. So that was,
I really loved it. I hope you know the guitarist.
Oh yeah,
that's a really good one.
Cool, yeah,
so
yeah.
That gets stuck in your head.
That's always a kind of there's a lot of great live moments in the Jim set.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So before a gig, do you have any rituals? Any things you do? You have to do?
Yeah, I've started doing that a little bit. No, I mean occasionally. No, I generally don't drink. I generally don't drink before.
Okay.
Definitely drink afterwards.
Yeah.
But
be concentrated.
Yeah, I generally don't drink. It's not because of concentration. I think like having a drink before the gig doesn't necessarily kind of kill your concentration too much. My thing is that I really like to be in the moment when I'm playing. It's certainly not a kind of autopilot thing at all.
Yeah.
And I really like to kind of react to what everyone else on stage is doing and react to the audience in a really kind of conscious way, and to feel the nervousness and to feel my heart beating. And I think if I have a drink, that kind of relaxation that some people like, it kind of calms me down a little bit too much, and I don't really want to be calm. It's for me, playing is a massive deal, and it will always be a massive deal, and I want to be nervous.
It's part of it.
It's part of it, absolutely. So I kind of don't do that, but I suppose I've kind of started kind of physically warming up a bit, and kind of jumping around and
get even
stretching and kind of just getting a little bit. I remember watching an interview with Green Day actually, and I think it was the bass player saying that like this is a real bit of wisdom for people who play really big gigs. And the bass player was saying, you know, when the first song, you can't start on the first song. You need to have started 3 songs before you go on stage, so you hit the ground running. So your blood is already
you're
pumping. You know, so like I think that was a really good bit of advice. And I don't always do that. And if I don't warm up enough, I always think, missed that opportunity, you know. So it's just getting really serious about it, I suppose.
That's really good to see. So we're obviously in Berlin here.
Yes.
Do you have any insider tips where you go? Not the normal stuff like the TV tower or anything.
Okay. Trep Tower Park is really beautiful.
To relax?
Yeah, that's a really beautiful place in the daytime. I'm trying to think of the best places.
It's a tough one.
There's an amazing, in terms of nights out, there's a night out that happens every Tuesday. And it's a hip hop band called The Swag. And it's some of the best musicians in Berlin, like a live hip hop band. And rappers and singers get up and join in, like it's a kind of jam. But it's just the best night out. It's the best band, but it's also just the best night out.
Really?
It's so great, cool. And it's like a Tuesday night, and you have to not have any work on Wednesday because it goes really late. But it's just so great. So I'd recommend anyone to go to that.
Okay, keep that in mind. So another tough one now. Imagine your music could be part of a soundtrack to any kind of film. What kind would it be?
I feel very sorry for any director that has to have my music as a soundtrack to their film.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I'd love to kind of write some soundtrack to like a John le Carré spy movie, or something like that. You know,
that's interesting.
That's just the first thing that came into my head. What else would be?
Something, a comedy film, or you know?
I can't. That's I'm drawing a blank. I was just thinking comedy film. I'd love it to be something with Jack Black in it, but then it certainly wouldn't suit that because Jack Black has enough music on his own. Tenacious D have got it covered. I don't know. Something with Benedict Cumberbatch in it, I guess.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. Okay, moving on. A song you catch yourself dancing to. Like, it's not maybe even, you know, embarrassing or something. It's something you just can't sit still.
Whenever James Brown comes on. Whenever James Brown comes on, I lose all sense of
just go
shame and dance badly.
Can somebody play something? Okay, so that's good. And you're obviously inspired by many musicians, right?
Yeah.
But who have you learned some from?
who I learned the most from.
Like guitar playing wise, or in case of writing. Is there anybody?
That's a difficult question.
I think you once said John Mayer really inspired you.
That's certainly one of the kind of more modern influences, and certainly like I think that really inspired me because he kind of, I think he was the first person I heard for a while who kind of wrote songs about something and then like really kind of played them with a kind of great band and in that kind of really open, honest kind of way, you know. Well, particularly that kind of particular era where he was doing a lot of kind of blues music and stuff like that. That was great. I mean, I listened to I learned a hell of a lot from a lot of kind of 70s artists. Like, I think I probably learnt more from like Joni Mitchell than anybody else, you know. And so I guess my music's always going to end up sounding a little bit retro in that way. But I just love that era of music in the 70s where it was quite open-minded and a lot of people were kind of writing kind of wonderful songs, but also kind of opening up the boundaries of what you could get away with music, kind of not being kind of confined by the fashions of it. And as a result of that, I think a lot of that music kind of ended up getting a little bit overblown and self-indulgent by the end of the decade. But I think there's some music from that I just absolutely love, and people like Paul Simon and Steely Dan and that kind of era. I just kind of learnt a ton from that, which probably makes me really uncool, but I don't care. Not
at all.
It's just great.
It's real music. So.
Yeah. There's a guy called John Martin as well. Do you know John Martin?
Yes, I do.
In English, this is a Scottish guy who played folk music, and he kind of made a lot of crazy sounds and was famous for his rock and roll antics. But
that's quite inspiring.
It's very inspiring within his kind of really kind of slightly random and maybe slightly inconsistent catalogue. There's so much kind of wonderful songs.
Yeah.
It's worth checking out.
And in our last interview, which was email, you said you care a lot about lyrics.
Yeah.
So is there any song you've written which you really love just for the lyrics? You know?
I tend not to love my lyrics very much. I tend to write them, they just kind of come out.
Yeah, but something that really means
and then I listen back to them and go, oh, did I really write that?
Oh, come on.
Really?
Not
but I think I still wrote them for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and it was every word still ended up there for a reason, you know, and anything that I really to narrow it down to anything would be really difficult. I think once again I'm just kind of it's always the things that I wrote the most recently that like this tune Flying Home I wrote quite recently it's probably not the best lyrics that I wrote, but it's one of the most kind of immediate. It kind of just poured out in a really really kind of personal kind of way, you know. And so that I guess whenever I play that, it kind of just feels like really nice because I remember that feeling. But ultimately, like, I mean, something about lyrics is funny. Like, I kind of don't. Everything comes from a personal place, right? Whenever you write lyrics, like everything does. But I always think that once I'm playing it, it's not really for me anymore. It's for the audience. It's whatever they make of it. And so you've got to kind of let go of it. You've got to accept that you were in that mood or that space when you wrote it, and then just give it away. Just let it fly out, and I think that's what's magical about lyrics. So it's not always like I must define exactly what I'm feeling right now. It's also kind of I want the sounds of the words to just be beautiful, and I want the words to swing and to groove and to sound good with the band, and I want, you know, and all of those things that actually the audience hears when you play it. You know, so
the final product.
But maybe I'll change in things that, you know, I think it's a continually evolving process, isn't it? So that was a really long answer.
That's alright. So we also talked about the new songs. Can you send along some for me to listen? I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm just demoing up songs with the band. I need to make an album soon, you know. You really need to.
Yeah.
So would you say between your new and your old material, are there any differences? You think you're developed? The way I'm demoing up the new songs, I've got this great trio, Yasmin who's playing kind of keys and bass at the same time, and Misha playing drums. And the sound is, I kind of trying to get a bit more of a kind of groovy sound. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of kind of, I've played a lot of
like New Orleans music in the past, and trying to kind of get a little bit of that swing into it, but without kind of completely imitating any style. But it's definitely way more up tempo and way more like sunny. You know, it's like it's really happy music. But actually, in terms of the songwriting, I think it's not actually that different. And I think. So I'm kind of demoing these tracks up, which I think I'm probably going to like start posting over the next couple of months, and they're really just full on kind of live band, happy sounding band tracks. But I think for the record, I need to kind of bring back the kind of intimate acoustic side as well.
Yeah,
so
mix it up.
To me, I'm looking to marry those two things, like this really exuberant, happy thing, which I feel whenever I'm playing music.
Yeah,
I just want to be, I want to be loud and happy, you know.
Yeah.
But
So
then also the songs have this kind of this real intimacy. So I kind of want to get both of those things, and that's going to be tough, you know. So I've got to find it somehow.
Got to do.
That is the plan. That's the next phase.
All right. So you've also played a lot of gigs this year already?
Yeah, there's been tons.
Is there a certain gig you'll never forget? Can be in the past, like quite recent, anything?
Mishka and me played in this town called Sagada in the north of the Philippines. And it's like 6 hours on a wiggly bus away from anywhere. Like, it's so remote. It's so remote that the Spanish never even got there. You know, during the colonial period. So it's got a really different kind of wonderful culture to anywhere else I've been, and just it's you know, made so many good friends up there. It was really cool. And we played this gig up there, and it's like in this kind of town hall with this most amazing view, and you could just about see these rice terraces in the background, and just all our new friends kind of like put this gig on and got it all together, and there was about 150 people in there just by kind of candlelight, and the sound was horrendous, but it didn't matter.
No, it was about the music.
It was just about the music, and it was just like, it was kind of the most honest, most genuine place I've ever played, and I kind of want every gig to be like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I just really want to go back there and see those people again. You know? And just it was really funny. We were on the bus on the way up, and there was this stop. I think it was like the highest point in the Philippines road system. Right? So we were up on these mountains with these extraordinary views and this mist everywhere, and this little station where you could buy kind of fruit just off these sellers and other these funny little things. And we stopped off, and this was still 4 hours journey away from Sagada where the gig was.
Okay.
And all of these kids were just like looking at Mishka and me going like, you know, and I was like, okay, sure, I mean, I've got a guitar, but, and then I realised that there were posters for this gig, and it was 4 hours drive away, and we were like, they thought we were stars. We're not stars, but like they thought we were.
In the future, you are.
Well, they thought we were. You know, it was kind of funny, and it was like it was a wonderful. Yeah, that was a wonderful journey, but also just like that's how gigs are supposed to be.
Yeah. So actually, that'd be a nice way to end things up. But we've got one question still waiting for you to answer.
Yes.
What do you take along on tour? 3 things. Let's try it again.
Let's try it again. These are great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a good pair of boots, especially if you're touring around like Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, and it involves the winter.
Oh, winter, yes.
So a pair of kind of waterproof boots that look like you could wear them on stage, because you're going to have to like trudge through some mud and snow, and then that kind of thing.
Okay. We've got that. 2 more things.
I always take like some kind of cheap electronic device with which you can access Wi-Fi that you don't mind bad things happening to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I wouldn't want to take an expensive laptop on tour.
No.
So I used to go to like some second-hand shop and buy a laptop that's like about to die anyway, and that felt good because it's always you end up in some kind of slightly sketchy bits of towns.
Of course.
Like,
makes sense.
Yeah, so that's quite a good thing.
Okay.
And there must be something really cool and quirky and hip that I can say.
Or maybe just some kind of food you really need to have.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be essential.
This isn't very rock and roll. Okay. This isn't very rock and roll, but like me and a few other guys in the Jim Croft band try to always have some muesli about our person all the time. because touring around here is like, the hospitality is absolutely amazing, but there's quite a lot of kind of meat and cheese and bread, and so that's just a really lame answer.
Oh, come on.
To be honest, yeah, I mean, I suppose the coolest answer is, on the Jim Croft rider we generally have muesli for the morning and Lefroy for the evening, and I'd say that's a good combination.
Yes,
it's a good combination.
Healthy.
The two of them kind of provide the opposite ends of the health spectrum.
There's a balance.
And I think that to me creates the muesli and Lefroy are like the yin and yang of our tour rider.
All right.
God, that's lame.
Come on,
what am I talking about?
I don't know. It sounds good.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Wrap things up. I'm totally fine with that. Okay, so thank you so much for taking time.
Well, thank you. Thank you too.
So just once again, I'm Vanessa, this is Ben, and we're from House in the Sand in Berlin. All right.
All right.